Miami is known as an international community and the hub of trade and logistics for the Caribbean and Americas. A leader in the freight logistics industry, CaribTrans has served the Caribbean region for more than 30 years, with a footprint that has grown from one island to now serving the majority, as well as Central and South America. CaribTrans is an NVOCC, a non-vessel operating common carrier, meaning it has the same responsibilities as a shipper without owning the vessels or planes. Its primary customers, individuals who ship clothing, electronics, and other personal items, and occasionally cars.
Most of the stuff that they're sending is because they don't get it there. So for us to provide it on two services, air and ocean, we can give it a choice of how fast you want it. So if you want it really fast, we're going to send it by air, you're going to have it next day, sometimes even the same day.
That on-time service has been the key to CaribTrans' success, whether shipping by air or by sea. The company moves about 5,000 TEUs of freight each year, more than any NVOCC in the region. And since it joined the Saltchuk family of transportation companies a couple years ago, CaribTrans can offer customers even more shipping options.
Other NVOCCs, they depend on other shipping lines that are not part of their family. So they need to rely on whether they're going to sell or not, whether they are late or not. It doesn't happen to us because it's part of our family of companies. We control the service that we give.
Sí, buenos días, por favor, con Diana.
Quality service is what keeps customers coming back. Customers are treated like family, and when they leave to research competitors, it doesn't usually last long.
They have left and they have come back because they've said that, nobody does it better than CaribTrans. So because of that relationship.
That exceptional service includes consolidation. Customers can have freight sent here and stored for free for up to a month, then consolidated and shipped on to the islands and Americas, a perk for the region's growing small business market. Puerto Rico is an expanding market for CaribTrans, about the size of Connecticut and rich in history and culture. Puerto Rico is home to many pharmaceutical manufacturers, as well as a thriving tourism industry for which CaribTrans moves raw materials and supplies. But serving small businesses is still the company's bread and butter here in San Juan. Businesses like Caldera Café, a local coffee company. Owner Alfredo Rodriguez started growing coffee beans at his mountain farm about 20 years ago. He recently ordered a variety of new equipment for his farm and shop. He uses CaribTrans because it consolidates shipments, which cuts down on the number of times he has to pay the Puerto Rico import tax.
Not many companies want to do that. They want only big cargoes and maybe half container or full containers, but they don't want to consolidate because it's more difficult.
Turning challenges into opportunities is what CaribTrans does, and that includes helping to grow small businesses like Caldera Café by taking the hassle out of shipping.
We can be a gateway to expand their business in the Caribbean and back to the U.S. And wherever they can sell their products, we are also going to be a partner for them.
That customer dedication has made CaribTrans what it is today. Now, as part of a larger family with more transportation resources, CaribTrans hopes to grow beyond its current market, offering services to additional Latin American ports and eventually Europe and Asia. But even when it becomes a global logistics company, CaribTrans wants to stay true to its roots, always providing personalized, reliable customer service and a commitment to the communities it serves.
and why this event started in 2003 and has continued to build the momentum of where we are today. Unfortunately, Wim and Johanna cannot be here this evening, but Helene and Tom, you really should stand and take a bow. 2003 was also the first year Adam and his wife Sabine came on the island, and Malachi. Adam is, you can wave back there, I can't see with the lights. And Malachi's not feeling well, he's at home. But these folks are the creative force behind this operation, and they have continued to give us incredible elements and initiatives that are part of our success. Thank you. The board members, I think, are all here. I haven't seen everybody. They're very important. They give up their time to be part of this. Michael is here. Is Andres here? Egon, Lisa, they told me they're coming. So give them a hard time when you see them. And a special thanks to John. Who's been there since the beginning? My life partner, who does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, using tools that we don't know how to use. But a really important thing he did years ago was he told me, this is nuts. You have to change something. Because at one point we were doing 28 scientists per month. So it was kind of crazy, and we were just running it out of the business of Saba. But that pushed us to get interns and incredibly bright young energy that also transformed the event. And today, some of those are directors. So we have in the back, Emily Balsack. And our new addition, Beth Chapin. Where are you, Beth? I can't really see. And then let's not forget Grace, who's our super helpful with the kids. And they are equally, if not more vital to this organization than I am. So thank you. Over the years, we have had over 300 scientists come to Saba. So that's pretty wild, huh? And they have shared their expertise with our children, the elderly, the adult community, and tourists. And a big reason this event is successful is because everyone on Saba made them feel special. And some of them have come back, and very importantly, they have referred our program to their colleagues. And a lot of times we get the question of, where do you get all these great people? Well, everybody's part of that, so I hope everybody feels good about that. Throughout the month, we'll be certain to remind you that this event is not possible without the support of Prince Bernhard Culture Funds, Public Entity Saba, and more than 50 sponsors. And you'll get tired of us telling you who these great sponsors are and the raffle tickets, but we'll get to that. Sorry, make sure I don't forget anything here. The positive experiences, so truly I want to thank all of you, taxi drivers, business owners, hospitality staff, dive crew, community members, event participants, whether it's your first time coming for See and Learn or you've been part of this year after year. See and Learn has always been and will always be a collaborative, community-driven event that inspires and connects people from around the world with this unique island and the people that live here and care about it. So, happy 20th anniversary to all of us. So, let's get on with tonight's event. With that, I want to hand over the microphone to Saba's governor, Jonathan Johnson, who will officially open our evening event. Enjoy tonight, and it promises to be interesting and fun. Thank you.
She can't go too far.
Oh.
This lady, let's give her a big round of applause. Lynn used the word our, but also the word team. Together, everyone achieves more. And that's what Absolutely. Lynn has been able to do over these years with the team that she has and the people behind it. So a lot of work goes into this. we thank you for all you've done by pulling this card, because it's been a very important part of our community for the last 20 years. And with that, See and Learn 2023 is officially open.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've known the governor since he was a teenager. Okay, now, I need a cue, Adam. Are we, sorry, slides next? I need to hit go? How? Oh, okay, so I do need to press. Okay, I didn't know if you were doing that or I'm doing that. Okay, so to get started tonight, talking about some of our sponsors. Juliana's Hotel is sponsoring the accommodation stay for our expert this evening, who we'll introduce shortly. This just gives you a taste of how many people are behind this event. These are the logos of Prince Bernhard Culture Funds and public entity Saba. Without their financial support, this program is absolutely not necessary. But look at all these sponsors. So when we first started 20 years ago, we had 5. Hopefully you recognize a number of logos, and there's even companies and organizations from off-island, and you'll be hearing more about that as the event goes along. We have incredible raffle prizes. Raffle tickets are only $5, plus we have the bundle. So from jewelry, from Saba Finds, to the coffee table book that you've heard about, fun things like tennis lessons, handmade knives. Sorry, I can't really see the pictures as well as I'd like to. But there's incredible 3-night stays at different villas. So we have Larry and Sherry, our fabulous supporters here of Flamboyant Cottage, Mark Johnson's Cottage Club Penthouse, and Tim Schmitz, where are you? There is Tim, a loyal, my God, how many years have you been coming to See and Learn? And he's not only a wonderful supporter of the program, he's donating a week's stay at a home he has in St. Croix. So that's fun, and if you're a diver, St. Croix offers great diving as well. The Caribbean Explorer, even though they're a live-aboard dive boat, people would say like, oh, is that competition? Well, it's a different market. They have donated a 1-week trip, so that means a week on the boat, accommodations, food. They even do free drinks and diving. So I think I have covered those. Sorry, the top left is... Oh, and next to that. Oh, are you donating one? Are you donating a fountain?
No, I offer a 1 month's workshop.
Okay, I'm sorry. Somebody didn't tell me that. Okay, so Helene, our wonderful artist, is donating a pottery workshop. Okay, and Moulton has tickets, and the Edge is Aquamania. Shea Booba with a wine basket as well. And the Brigadoon is also doing a complimentary dinner for 2. So, great prizes, $5, incredible odds to win something. So, support that. Okay, coming up, we have our next presentation will be with Nathan Robinson, who's in the crowd. You can stand up and show everybody who you are. He's a turtle expert, but he also works with deep water exploration as well. 1 o'clock should be our next field project, out to the Saba Bank with an ROV. Everybody knows a ROV is a remote operated vehicle, checking out our sinkholes. And Thursday at the Long Haul, Will Barnes, so he is part of the team that originally did the sinkhole exploration, and hopefully we're going to learn even more this week, so that his presentation should be pretty darn exciting. So sign up at the tent. The tent is at Lambie's place. All good things ahead. And if you go on a field trip, you get a free T-shirt or ladies' tank. So, and those are a pretty good deal, huh? And they look good. The T-shirts and tees, by the way, are made from ethically sourced, recycled from plastic. So they're super soft and comfortable, but they're also environmentally correct. And Cloud Top. If you haven't tried it, make sure you come next time for a free sample, but you can buy it in the bar or from us later as you like, and hopefully you're going to support that, and you're going to hear more about that coming up. So tonight, our keynote speaker and special VIP, because she's going to explain, it was her idea to have a beer made for Saba. So first of all, can we give a round of applause for that? And her husband, Sean, here, who is the guild master of Florida, but they're going to explain that. And stand up, this is Tom, the actual brewer. Let me tell you about the science part of her. Okay, so Erica Moulton first came to Saba for our 2021 program and fell in love with See and Learn and the island of Saba. This is only one of many reasons why she is the perfect speaker to kick off our program's 20th anniversary. More reasons to come shortly. Besides being Wonder Woman, Erica is also a marine scientist, educator, adventurer, and maker with more than 20 years' experience designing, developing, and implementing continuing education and marine environmental education courses. In her day job, she's the director of the St. Petersburg College STEM Center at Bay Pines, engaging students in contextualized curriculum, and in her free time, she runs PVC ROV, a small business geared toward building and teaching others about underwater robots. She also serves as the director of the Center for Open Exploration, C4OE. C4OE is her nonprofit which provides connections to grant opportunities for citizen science projects, for which she was just recently honored for this work by Nowe Worldwide for Environmental Enrichment. So raise your glass, hopefully a cloud top, to Erica.
Okay, so Saba Beer, Center for Open Exploration, and why do we explore? I'm not sure if my segues between those three topics will work, but we're going to go for it. So let's start off with the Saba Beer first. Okay, so in case you're new here, what exactly is Saba Spice? So simply put, on my first visit here as a guest and a presenter of See and Learn in 2021, I became enamored, also intoxicated, with this flavor profile of the Saba Spice. Okay, so I took a bottle home, we shared it with our friends, they too became enamored, probably intoxicated. And then we began thinking about this delightful flavor profile and concoction, and we had learned while we were here how often it was used in baked goods and hot sauces and just all over the place. Just an amazing flavor profile, completely in love with it. And then we just dug really into the rich history of how it came to be. We read all about the history, we read about the rums used, we used about the spices, the family secrets, the different types of bottles, and of course, the really key component for me is the women who had mastered the art of this unique spirit. So my next thought, of course, was, well, I love See and Learn, and I love Saba Spice, so how can I get back to Saba? So I reached out to, as they say, an idea was born, and I reached out to Lynn and Emily, and I asked, hey, what do you guys think about a Saba beer? And could I get some more Saba Spice for science? And so basically we, as she was saying, that a lot of the scientists, I will say, around the planet, See and Learn is, it's a feather in your cap to get chosen to come here. We all just love it. And so, you know, when you hear somebody else is coming, we said to them, you know, hey, would you mind if you're coming back to the States, you know, coming through customs and bring various bottles of Saba Spice back for us, for science. And we received that stash from different scientists in November of 2022. And immediately we reached out to our friends. And so Tom and I have been friends since we were just about 2. Our families live near each other. And Tom was my first drinking buddy. So we'd go out and have Guinness and talk about different beers and things like that. So anyways, I reached out to him, said, you know, I want to come visit you. It's late November, how's early December? And I want to show you what that looked like. So this is the head brewer, Houston. Thomas's business partner. So if you take a good look at his face, he's looking at his phone in that bottle of Saba Spice, because I said to him on December 5th, I got a big question. I'm thinking of making a beer with my nonprofit paying for everything, and I want this flavor profile. So his expression was, okay, Erica. Okay, so why did I choose Houston and Tom and Bastet? So they're located in Tampa, Florida. They're co-owned. The 2 of them run everything. But Bastet is part of the symbols of ancient Egypt and represents the goddess of protection, so back to women, the pleasure, bringer of good health. And with a name like that and friends behind the scenes, I thought surely they were capable. And so Tom and Houston, they really do brew a variety of beers. Some of my favorites are on the screen. They have, how many, Thomas? 26 taps of their own beers? 24 taps, so their own beers. One on the bottom is my favorite. It's gluten-free, and it's made with ubi yams. So that beer is purple, and it's called Ubi Doobie Doo. The one over here is tart cherries. They make some that aromas of donuts. There's guava. What else is up there? Do you see any, Thomas? Lots of coffees, porters, stouts, mangoes. So they really were the right brewery. And my husband has been in the beer industry for a long time, too. So we did have access to a lot of folks, but I personally wanted to work with Tom and Houston based on their experience. So eventually, by that afternoon, after a couple of sips of Saba Spice, it became a yes from Houston and Tom, and so off we went. So remember that Saba Spice is a family secret, and so respecting that, we drank the Saba Spice and put it in lots of snifters and thought about how we could come up with a flavor profile that was evocative of all the spices and seasonings that were represented in the Saba Spice that we had tasted. So we started with this small sample batch in the far corner over there. How many gallons was that, Tom? 31 gallons. 31 gallons. So we had friends come into the brewery and taste the beer, and eventually through connections with Lynn, we decided to get busy on, let's going to make this happen because Houston's making a beer. And so, it's better this way. So Lynn and I and Emily started talking about all the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going to have to go on now. How are we going to pay for this beer? How are we going to get it here? How are we going to put it in cans? And who's going to sponsor it? So we started talking about it with other groups. I started talking with a lot of geological scientists who run Geo Aqua Watch. They decided to chip in cash. Baytech Label is a label manufacturer. It's kind of fun to try and make a label that sticks to something cold and wet. So really fun to work with them. And then here on island, Lynn and Emily worked with Malachi Media to come up with this design that was evocative of the beer and the can and the island. And so you will notice, though, in the beginning, that does not say Saba Cloud Top, because we discovered, Tom and Houston, as we got further along, that if we wanted to register this beer, we need to put Saba in the front because somebody else is already calling their beer a Cloud Top. So kept moving along. And oh yeah, oh sorry, yeah, I'll go back. He makes quite a few cameos in there. Okay, so Vernon said, yeah, there was a price for Vernon, but we put his logo on the. You'll see in a minute here. So, okay, so Houston said the batch is ready. Let's see if we can get some to see and learn and to that team, and so they could have a tasting. So we put it in some crowlers, canned it up, magic of FedEx, got it here on island. And Lynn and team hosted a tasting and gave us a complete rundown of what they thought needed to be improved, etc. Emailed it to us within less than 24 hours. It went back to Houston and Tom and said, okay, this is what the team there says we need to change on the flavor profile. And off we went. And so the brewing process to make the beer, you can see Houston and Tom were kind enough to let us make cameos, but Houston does a lot of the work, watching and babysitting. So putting all the things together only takes about a day, but the marination and the magic takes much longer. So fun note real quick. Tom and Houston also have this really great circular economy. Everything is environmentally as best as it can be. And all the hops and grains go to a cow rescue. So I'll be back in 26 with Saba milk. So, just kidding. Anyways, so, and so the next part comes with just the magic of marination. This double batch was ready to go. It takes about 60 days. So we started in July, and then we canned it in September. The bottom of your can has a born-on date on the bottom, and it all says C4OE loves Tom and Houston on the bottom of every can. And basically, it's kind of, anybody here familiar with IKEA self-assembly furniture? Well, what we wanted to do was to not send a bunch of plastic to Saba. And so we assembled these high wall boxes, and then we didn't use any rings or 6-pack holders or 4-pack toppers, and we hand-packed every single, so Tom, Sean, Houston, or myself have touched every can and packed it all. And it's very much like putting together furniture at IKEA, right? You pipe it out, you make the box, you put it in the can, the label spins on, end up with this incredible process. A little video here, quickie. Okay, and then my husband and I rented a budget truck, put the pallet in the truck, stacked up the beer, and then the only time we did use plastic was to wrap all those stacks of beer. And then we went over to see Vernon Hassel with his delivery of some beer and his logo. It was really fun to spend the day there at Hassel Free Shipping. They were kind enough to come right out with a forklift, take it off the budget rental truck. We spent some time talking with them. He had some intentions of making it here this week. Oh, okay. So, yeah, we delivered the beer there. And then the next phase was trying to get some sleep. So I spent some time on the treadmill prepping for Mount Scenery. We got some pictures from Vernon the day, I think it sat in the warehouse for about 3 days, and then the shipping container arrived. We gave him some very specific instructions about putting that beer in last, so that it would be the first off and get cooled when it arrived here on Saba. And we got some pictures from Lynn and Emily the day that the beer arrived. So, pretty fun journey. So, ta-da, that's how you make beer. It's here. Cheers to 20 years. It was very fun to work with you. So, C4OE and all of our sponsors basically fiscally covered all of the beer and the shipping and all the things to get the beer here. So, anytime you buy a beer, it directly benefits See and Learn, and that was our ultimate goal. Okay, and so why? And so my nonprofit is the Center for Open Exploration. I started it with some other women in 2015. And really, a lot of us work in academia and we do research. And if you're in that field, you know that quite often your host institution takes 48 to 52% off the top. So when I ask for $1 million, I have less than 500,000 to do science. But there's tons of small pots of money out there and tons of great things to do. And so with that small money, if you just keep all of it because everybody's volunteering, or you just take 8 or 10% to keep the business going, you can do lots of magic. And so this year, C4OE took on 2 projects. One, working with our partners to figure out how we could support more efforts and connection to See and Learn. And the other one was we partnered with women through PADI, the dive organization, to teach women in the Maldives to swim. So in the Maldives, for religious and cultural reasons, a lot of women need to be taught other things by other women. You can't learn from a man. And so swimming is one of those. And to be part of the blue economy, whether that's leading ecotourism, or that's fishing, or that's becoming a snorkel guide, or working with the manta rays, or being one of the scientists that works with tagging and collecting information about the mantas, there aren't that many women who are from the Maldives. And so we sponsored women in the Maldives to learn to swim so they could go teach other women to swim, and so on. And so there's a hair commercial about that, right? And so we worked with PADI Women's Dive Day, and we got that done by this July. And so now there are women learning to snorkel, and then PADI will sponsor them to get scuba certified. So those are the 2 big tasks we took on this year. Okay. So those are 2. Now we're in the why do we explore. Okay, so the ocean is about, Good? Nice segue, right? Okay. The ocean is about 98%, sometimes people say a little less, of the actual living space on this planet Earth, right? And we humans are curious, and we're designed that way. So why the deep ocean, though? Well, there's a lot less predatory puppies. So when I was here in 21, I did bring, because I worked with the school students, I brought some stuffed figures that are ROVs, and Hermes really enjoyed them a lot. But the deep ocean is full of secrets. There's obviously the usual and ones people think about all the time, like gold coins and treasure, mysterious shipwrecks. But more importantly, the deep ocean is just a mystery to all of us. So on any given night, like tonight, if it wasn't so cloudy, you can walk outside and look up at the night sky. You can see the stars, you can see planets, and even with just a little bit of assistance, maybe a small telescope or binoculars, you can see galaxies and distant planets, you can see things on the moon. But in the deep ocean, I can't do that. So it's shrouded in mystery for all of us all the time. It's out of sight, out of mind. So there's this great joke, right? As we like to say, space exploration is easier, astronauts, because not everybody gets to be a marine biologist. Teasing. Okay, so let's do the not so good parts of the story first about exploring and discovering in the deep ocean. So in about the 1970s, explorers began searching more of the deep ocean, and they started looking not just for those shipwrecks and treasure, but for energy, sources of power, things that we all particularly like, remote power, the kind that you can use for your car, the kind you can use for your cell phone, the kind you can use for anything that you can take on a walk or a stroll with you, and you don't have to charge necessarily. So we're looking for specifically, what are we looking for specifically? How to use the deep ocean to benefit our own needs is mostly what a lot of us look for. Well, right now we estimate that the ocean floor is covered in exploitable resources that are focused right now on these nodules. So I do have one here in a bag we can pass around. So right now, we guesstimate that there are about 21 billion tons, I wanted to get that number right, of these polymetallic nodules in just the CCZ zone alone. So that would be from this side to straight across, yeah. But they're all over the world's oceans, and the interesting fact is that they all tend to stay in the 4,000 meter to 6,000 meter depth range, so the deep ocean. These rocks basically are balls of manganese, metals of economic interest, including nickel, copper, cobalt, titanium, lithium, and then some other rare earth elements. And the goal of a lot of these explorers is to remove them for their own use or for creating deep sea mining for our uses. So, okay, so but what are these nodules and how did they get there and how do they grow? Where do they grow? Do we know what this guy is? We've all seen nice meg tooth, right? Okay, so fascinating enough, every single one of those nodules, now remember I told you there is 21 billion tons, right, in just the CCZ zone? Every single nodule has something biologically organic in the center, so that's the white dot in this one. So all of them start with a shark tooth, a shell chip, a whale bone, yeah, every single one of clay pieces. It's quite fascinating discovery that every single one has something in the center. So it's like those lollipops, right? Okay, so fascinating enough, but then they only grow to this nodule a few micrometers a year. So I have one here, and I have the tooth. If you want to have a look at them, you can. But basically, there are metals falling out of the water column that attach to this thing, whatever it was, you know, shark tooth or whalebone on the ocean. And then there's also metals in the sediment in the deep ocean, and that attaches. So you get these really cool nodules all over the ocean floor. So scientists estimate that the nodules do take about 1 million years or so to grow, depending on the ocean depth. But we think that there's probably a great chance that there's about 70% of the ocean, deep ocean floor, beyond that 3,000 meter mark, covered in nodules. So we know that there must be a relationship between the abundance and composition of these deep ocean plains and the presence or absence of these nodules. So scientists are now looking at ways, like if we remove the nodules, like in that far picture down there, would biological life be attracted back if I put fake rocks? Or does it have to be a nodule? Is there something in the middle? Most of us do realize in this first picture that the ocean is kind of on the bottom, snowing all the time, right? There's just stuff falling down, whether that's trash and debris or the particulate matter that falls out. And when it lands on the bottom, most of these rocks should be covered, but something's happening because quite often when you go into these zones with underwater robots, you discover that they're exposed to the surface. So clearly there are grazers who rely on all that marine snow to come down to the ocean bottom and graze it off so that we can see the nodules. So it's a symbiotic relationship between the deep sea fauna and these nodules, and we really haven't figured that part out yet. Okay, but it's really responsible for a lot of the biodiversity in the deep ocean. Okay, so why else do we explore? Well, exploration leads to knowledge, and knowledge leads to understanding. And so since, you know, the ocean is about 90% of the habitable space on our planet, when you look up at the sky and you can observe all the things and you can stare at the deep ocean all day, but you can't see what's down there because the water is thicker than air. You know, the exploration in areas we can't see every day is important. It's important to discover new life. It's important to discover the connection to life on our own. And we've also found out in my lifetime too, actually, how much plankton is responsible for the oxygen that's on the planet. It's not just the trees. So, all right. So we're going to take a quick look at what's down there. This is just a couple seconds shy of 2 minutes. These are all photos and images from my friends and colleagues at these various institutions, NOAA, the Schmidt Ocean Institute, and MBARI. Life under the sea mimics its terrestrial cousins, and while trees help with oxygen, like I was saying, again, plankton is really important to the oxygen that we breathe. And all the critters you're about to see, they come in all shapes and sizes and colors, and the life forms from sponges to crabs to fish to sharks, jellyfish, octopods, gastropods. Some we only know of because of these images. Some we have known about before because they were brought up in deep ocean trawlers, but we had no idea what they looked like by the time they got to the surface, what they look like in their living form. So deep ocean exploration allows us to see them in their habitat doing the things that they do. So all of these images I'm going to show you really quickly are from 2021, 2022, and 2023, and they're all from greater than 3,000 meters. And if you're interested, you can see any of these images in the public spaces of these organizations here. Video. stuff. So that last image is a recently discovered octopus garden. So it's not too far from Alaska, and it's quite fascinating. I think that they think that there's 3,000 to 4,000 pairs of octopus that have come in and have mated, and now they're in this octopus garden laying their eggs. Nope. All right. Okay. So why did I come here, and why the deep ocean for Saba? So I think the statistics right now are that it's like one of the third deepest spots in this region of the Atlantic and the Caribbean Ocean is off here in the Saba Bank. And so you have this smaller island and then just this amazing deep ocean exploration space. There's just a few papers and science that's out there for exploration, and I'm sure you'll get to hear more about it from Will and Nathan in their presentations later in the week. But it's an incredible space. It's an incredible opportunity to see what's out there for protecting. It's one of the most unique protected marine reserves. Everybody loves it, so we're excited to see what's there and who we're sharing our space with. And so this is me. If you're going to come out in the vessel, we're going to try our darndest to see what's on the Saba Bank. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, this is the Deep Trekker we'll be launching. There's my logos, and that's 3 topics in 20 minutes, and that's all I got. Questions? Yes, yeah. So I'll take any questions, and if they're beer, I'll ask Tom and to come on up too.
How long have you been so intrigued?
Probably my whole life, I guess. I started diving at 12, and then how long have I been intrigued with the deep ocean? My entire life, yeah. So I started diving at 12, and how I got into ROVs was, simply put, I decided to have children, and that's 10 months out of the ocean with diving gear on. And so I got into the marine robotics so I could still go out to sea during the process of having children. And it stuck. So it's been about, my kids are 23 and 20, and it's been that part of my life now for that component. But yes, I've done working diving for NOAA and EPA, and I've worn a helmet and dived mixed gas and all that kind of stuff. But these days it's much more fun to talk with people and send robots down. So, yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more about these ROVs?
Sure. Sure, so that's always the big question, right? What can they do? They can do pretty much anything you want, right? So the ROVs, repeat the question, what can you do with an ROV? So ROVs give you instantaneous real-time feedback. So there's a tether, so you can either have power down the line or power on board. You have cameras and lights, and sometimes action. You have a manipulator or multiple manipulators. They do everything from lay the gas and oil pipeline that a lot of us use. I think it's still something like 65 or 70-something% of the world's cell phone communication still goes through undersea cable. You can Google image search the little videos that Google has put up about sharks biting the deep-sea cables. So there's ROV operators who go down to investigate what kind of interruptions are happening into cell phone service, because there's all these little shark bites in their wire underwater, thousands of meters. Treasure, shipwreck, discovery of what these nodules are and what we're going to do with them. We've been watching silt. So when they're pulled up, they create a lot of siltation, which is really bad for coral reefs and seagrass beds and things like that. It's not a good idea to mine the deep ocean. But, gosh.
About the ROV that you have with you.
So the ROV I have with me is this one here. It's called a Deep Trekker. A Deep Trekker on its own, if you have the right length of tether, is capable of about 1,500 to 2,000 meters, so it can withstand pressure and depth. It's essentially a flying eyeball with tiny little motors, so its whole job is to just sink down to the bottom, and then it's got this great camera system in the front window, in the acrylic window, that goes all the way up and down the entire circle so you can see what's around you. But again, tiny little motors, and so we had a lot of trouble today with tides and currents and stuff trying to fight against that. The idea being that you want to make micro movements, right? You don't want to kill a fish, you don't want to silt up the bottom, you don't want to break off a piece of coral, you just want to fly nice and calmly through an area. So not a lot of juice or oomph. So this one is powered through a tether to the top. It has batteries on board that charge overnight. And then it's just a joystick system. So it's got this small TV monitor and 2 joysticks. So if you're a parent and you're constantly telling your children to put down their phone and stop playing video games, there's a career path for them, actually. So that hand-eye coordination is really great. And these only get bigger, right? So if you're operating one that's like off the oil and gas industry, a lot of those guys sit, Nathan and Will can tell you too, they sit in a big comfy chair in a 40-degree room because it's got like all these TV monitors and computers. And then you have 10 scientists standing behind you as backseat drivers. No, left. I said the other left. Get that, get that, get that. Catch it. Why didn't you catch it? And it's always a challenge, right? Because in the deep sea, a lot of these manipulators are titanium, right? So they don't bend. And then you're trying to catch a jellyfish. So it doesn't always work. So there's lots of adaptation at sea to try and get things to work.
How much does that cost?
Oh, how much does this one cost? So this about 10, 12. Yeah, so it just depends on what kind of add-ons. Again, this is like the IKEA part of beer, right? You can add on manipulators, you can add on sensors, you can add on more tether, you can add on, how much, yes, how much do you want to, so there's a base model. And then the one I have is a little older, it's the DTG2. They have a newer one that's a 3, so you can, upgrade your cameras, upgrade your lights, and upgrade your recording abilities, those types of things, yeah. So they're a little different than autonomous underwater vehicles. So AUVs, really, quite often you just code and program them in a lab. You tell them what you want them to do, the pattern you want them to swim. You take your boat out, you drop it off, say sayonara. And then it comes to the surface, calls a satellite, satellite pings your cell phone, and you go back out and pick it up and then download the data that it's collected for you as it's done. The only thing is that there's no instantaneous real-time feedback. So whatever it's doing, and it's not stopping until it's done. And then you have to wait 30 days or 60 days or 10 days, whatever it was, to go back and get it. Submersibles all have people on the inside, and then there's a new, within the past 10 years, I'd say, a new science really of exploring gliders and drifters and things that are using solar and wave power, so we can understand waves and tides and currents and storms. Saildrone is a big company that's in Alameda, California, and Tampa, Florida. They've been launching sail drones into hurricanes now. So we actually have complete video image from the sea surface during storms. Yeah. Yeah, they all, so the interesting thing about it is all this science, right, has locator devices. I don't know why they don't use locator devices on kids and cars and cell phones, but on robots, it's really good. And in fact, quite often when somebody picks up your gear in the ocean, you get this lovely map, right? And the people will call you and say, well, I see your cell phone number. And I'm like, yeah, so well, how come you're in Daytona Beach, which is 4 hours away? And they're like, well, I picked it up at the beach, and then I took it home. And but we tag our manatees with the same way, and so a lot of people take the tags off the manatees, and then you knock on their door because they have the tag in their garage because they thought it was cool. But yeah, so a lot of this ocean science stuff is tagged that way, so you can go find it on the surface. If it's on the bottom, Zeus owns it now, yes. Poseidon, whoever, yeah. Good?
So that's opening night. Thank you very much for coming. If you want to stay for dinner and you didn't sign up, we can check with Liam's Cuisine if that's possible. By all means, join us for the rest of our program. Of course, we're on Facebook, Instagram, our website. There's a chalkboard at the tent. There's all kinds of ways. My phone number is 6677. However you want to do it. If you don't have the information, let us know. And there's weekly posters everywhere. So thanks for the support. Thanks for a great first evening. And let's carry on. Okay?